Welcome everyone to the podcast. It's me, Zero, here with.
Right?
Decade.
Drago.
And VashieV.
Today we're talking about Kamen Rider Ex-Aid episode 27. So first off, I want to talk about how nice it is to have the intro back at the beginning of the episodes. I don't know if I said this on the podcast before, but Ex-Aid's opening is the best one we've had for me since Double. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I was just saying how I really dig the opening. I mean, I just bought the CD, so that'll be coming in a couple weeks or so. Go ahead.
I really like the opening. I already have the full version with me. So yeah, I listen to it every day.
I love this entrance theme. Yeah, I really do. To me, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's really catchy. As for like the best intros, I don't know. Rider has pretty decent ones. I don't know. It's probably like a three-way tie or something, but yeah, this is probably one of the best.
So, on to the actual episode. Last week, the Ministry of Health declared a ban and recall in Kamen Rider Chronicle. Now, Amagasaki, the CEO of Genom Corp, is responding to that with a public announcement that players disappearing on a game over is a feature of the game, and that if someone were to actually beat Kamen Rider Chronicle, the vanished players will return. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it's pretty clear to me that he is just lying about this. Because why would they want the humans to return? Parado's made it very clear that that is not their goal. And an amusement.
I just want to say one thing about the announcement is that, well, you're probably going to cover it, but when he says, oh, if things aren't going too well with work or your relationships in life, then you can still become a hero if you play this game. And I thought that was just really simple but diabolical at the same time because, a lot of people play video games with their friends and stuff, but there's a good amount that play it just because they don't enjoy life in the real world and they're trying to escape. So the Bugster's targeting that audience, it's pretty hardcore.
Well, I have one slight problem with this. Since the game was banned by the Ministry of Health, who is selling it?
Well, copies are already sold.
Oh, right, I forgot about that. Still, Amagasaki is actually did a really good sales pitch, but I don't know. Ministry of Health the people should still be skeptical about it.
With me, as much as I miss Dan as the CEO and Captain Crazy Bridges, he was the current CEO. He's granted, yes, he's a Buckster and he's being manipulated, used by Parado to do all this. Like this entire, speech was part of his plan because they knew that the Ministry of Health was going to make a move. So this was the plan to kind of go, hey, it's not that bad, see, to try and combat it to get people to continue to play it. But the charisma he has, as obnoxious as he is perfect for what he's needed to do to get people to continue playing it. And they know the target audience that they're trying to get to play it, the closeted shut-ins, the people whose lives suck, which, like Decade said, it's genius, but diabolical as all hell. And it adds a touch of realism to the world that they built within Ex-Aid.
Okay, a couple things. Yeah, that's a really well-acted scene. The other problem is, there's a government ban on this damn game, right? Like, we had too much blood, and the parents got the courts to basically almost fucking shut down video game production, in like the 90s. At this point, like, people have fucking died, right? Like, alright, EA couldn't get away with shit like this. Fucking Monsanto couldn't get away with shit like this. To actually still sell your product, it's madness.
Look, Night Trap showed a female standing in a bathroom, so obviously it was not okay.
Yeah, I that's what I'm saying. Like one picture, right? Like confirmed deaths of people, and you're like, no, it's a feature. Like to to have this as a feature is the equivalent of EA going, or no, Activision going like, yeah, like those hostages you're supposed to save in those games? Guess what, player base? You didn't get there fast enough. So those 6 people, we're gonna keep them captive for 6 months. It's cool. Try again next patch. Like it's fucking insane. This would never fly in the real world.
Well, in fairness, nothing that Genom Corp has done would have flown in the real world. In fairness.
Yeah, but all the other shit is like, alright, it's cool, like new tech, and most people will be able to do it. But like most of the shady shit that Dan did, like one, he was kind of doing it solo, and he was doing it at a small enough scale. And with this is like they could have gotten away with the deaths if like they just said, oh, random bugsters attack these guys while they were playing. Like there are ways to cover up those deaths instead of saying no, it's a feature that we pretty much fucking Tsukasa people. I mean Tsukasa from
Dot hack.
Dot Hack, yeah.
But I mean, the way he explained it, as bullshit as it is, and anybody who's paying attention to what's going on in current events in that world should know it's bullshit. Well, yes, they vanished, but they're not dead. Clear the game, they all come back. It added to the, I guess, the slightly less malicious intent of it, with it being a feature of, oh, they're not dead. They're just going to be missing for a while. With granted, there's no clear indication of where they're at, which I think
this implies kidnapping.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Exactly. Like, okay, it's fine that they okay, it's really clever how they're using like human beings' desire to like help people and twisting that against them. Like that's clever, but implying that you're kidnapping people and like keep playing the game. If you lose, you might get kidnapped. It's like nobody would be that crazy. All right, even the crazy people would have family or friends who are like, knock that shit off, asshole. I'm taking your damn gashet away. It's too dangerous. Like, it's insane. Like, this is okay. Imagine the insanity of swine flu times like 1,000, and that's what just happened.
The one good thing is that they should have told that the players went on a holiday or something. Like they gave them a paid vacation. That would have covered up.
Oh, that would have been clever. Yeah, that would. Well, okay. Realistically, like the people close to them would have known, but they could have covered those up because there's no direct links of them buying the game or playing it. So we could have silenced the family members somehow.
They just all went to Florida.
They went to Crazyville.
I also love that we're all calling it bullshit, and in show, Taiga watching the announcement does a spit take with his popcorn because he's this baffled by it. So, moving on. At an amusement park, player riders are fighting the bugster Revel. Ex-Aid and Brave show up ready to fight him, but Nico also shows up ready to fight by using Kamen Rider Chronicle. She henshins and puts on a cap and a backpack and a sticker on top of the rider player outfit. It's kind of adorable, actually. She then proceeds to fight and beat Revel by herself. Pretty cleverly, too. Like, she actually uses a power-up, which the other rider players weren't using. She uses some balloons to, like, lift herself in the air somehow. And Poppy shows up to congratulate her on being the first person in the country to defeat a bugster. And she receives the proof of it. Physical proof, which is something that we did not get last week when Salty and Aranburo were defeated. So, yeah, you have to be a rider player to get the proof and beat the bugsters. Unfortunately, Nico then starts showing symptoms of Gain syndrome and is brought to CR. Decade?
Yeah, so Nico fighting the bugsters in Revolt. I mean, yeah, her gimmicks were pretty interesting, but to me, those sound effects were super annoying. I mean, I love Nico, but yeah, they just really dropped the ball with those redundant sound effects. Still liked the balloon lift rider kick, though.
Drago, anything?
Yeah, I felt that the fight between Nico and Revo was a bit silly for her character, but it was good what it was. And it also showed that she is a genius gamer that we just have been told that she is. And but the fact that she is the only one that cleared the first one that cleared the game is a bit, because you could just go on like 100 people could just gang up on the Bucksters and then kill them. That did nothing occur to them like that.
Well, I mean, it wasn't on that much of a scale, but in the last the episode with Salty and all that they kind of teamed up on him, and it ended up doing nothing. I was kind of disappointed when she transformed into, as she called it, Kamen Rider Nico.
She didn't even call herself Kamen Rider, did she?
That may have been a translation difference.
In the version I watched, she just said Rider Player Nico.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was disappointed that literally all it was is, yeah, I brought this stuff with me. I'm just going to put it on after I transform. Like, because with the preview and all that, it made it look, like that's literally what her transformed state looked like, which I was waiting for the explanation for that. This was not the explanation I expected to get. It was nice to see that there's at least somebody playing this game who understands the way power-ups work, but I'm disappointed that it had to be Nico, the other genius gamer. The fight scene was all right. I think they could have done it a little bit better, and like Decade said, the sound effects pissed me off. It was just overused and too much on it. But yeah, the fight was nice, and yeah, now that we have the full confirmation that yes, you have to be an actual Rider player to count as defeating the boss. So I guess Salty and the other guy are just going to respawn at some point.
Maybe. I mean, the thing is, it's weird that you got the Gashet, but I guess it's like a failsafe. It's like, oh, here's your proof, and then you just get infected by a stronger Bugster. So, basically the point is you can't win. Well, you can't win solo. As for like multiple people ganging up, it's like, yeah, it sounds great with like 100 people, but you see like 2 people like fucking drop dead in front of you. That group of like 50 to 100 is gonna run for their lives. Most people aren't that like hardcore and like most people aren't doing the whole like Ryuki thing. They're like, I just bought this game, let me try it out. Not like, let's fight, until like only one of us is left. So that's probably the reason why they aren't trying it. Plus the other thing is like, I don't know. I mean, like maybe after the recall and stuff, there are less people playing it. As for why like Nico's the only one who beat it, like, well, she's the genius gamer. They had to give her something, right? Like, she's not the first like female writer in the show, which is kind of nonsense, except because we've seen like 3 or 4 female writer players at this. No, okay, 1 died, 1 gave her Gashat. Nico's the 3rd one. Okay, yeah. So I guess like we had to give something to her name. I kind of like the the balloons were so over the top, but I'm like, maybe it's like a special item in the playing area, so we're counting that. I'm like, fine, whatever. It's cheesy enough to work. Like, I like her hat, and that distinguishes her from other Rider players. But I hate the backpack. It's so unnecessary. It makes her look so bulky. As for the sound effects, yeah, not great. I do it's one of those weird things. Like, I kind of like it and I don't, because like her attack effects are just like Poppy's, but then again, like Poppy's effects are like that because the CEO guy made her Gashat, and then like his effects are like that because he's a dating sim bugster. So I mean, maybe they just wanted to reuse effects. I liked her like little skull thing when she does like her rider kick. That was cool. I hope they just tone it down. Like, Poppy using is okay. It doesn't really fit too well with Nico, but it's fine. One last thing is like, okay, so we're doing we have female riders. Is it like the curse of female rider? You have like 3 curses now. It's like, 1, you're gonna die. Okay, if you live, you never come back. 3, if you henshin, you have to dance. Like, is that a thing now? Because I remember this in like Wizard, and it was super weird because it's like a super serious scene, and it still has that twirl thing that Nico does, and it just murders the mood of the entire scene. I'm like, we're bringing this back. It's like, is this Is this the thing? Like, is this the price we have to pay to get female writers? Because now they all have to henshin with the stupid spinning thing. It's like, alright, fine. You want the dancing? At least do the Kyuryoger thing. Make it fun, at least.
Nico starts showing symptoms of Gain syndrome and is brought to CR, where Taiga rushes to see her. Nico wants to help fight, but Taiga doesn't want her fighting. The two get into an argument that ends with Hiro forcing Taiga out of the room. Taiga leaves and heads to Genom Corp, just straight into the CEO's office to see Amagasaki. Ends up grabbing him by the collar during their talk, and Amagasaki uses an energy blast to knock him away, revealing to Taiga that he's a bugster, and then he just kind of teleports out. Meanwhile, Nico is being stubborn about staying in her room and goes to the CR lounge instead, where she just keeps complaining about Taiga. The conversation is interrupted by an emergency call. Taiga also receives the call and reflects on his argument with Nico. I liked Taiga's scene here, where when he starts to get the call, he almost throws his stethoscope off the bridge, but then stops himself for a moment to just stop and think about what he's doing. Other than that, I don't really have much to say here.
Yeah, it's nice to see how much caring for Nico kind of can blind him at times. When he's kind of just giving her the cold shoulder most of the time. But yeah, one scene that we kind of glossed over was basically before Taiga walks in, is two of the employees of Genom Corp are, I think, trying to quit because they don't want anything to do with this crazy game. And Amagasaki pretty much just tears up their resignation letter. So I don't know what Sakuru's doing, but clearly some people aren't all in on this crazy game.
Yeah, that's true. Because if I was working for a CEO and I found out that one of his products actually kills people, of course I would quit the company. I don't want that bad press to be associated with me. Well, that's a logical thing to do. But would tearing up the resignation letter help? They could just walk away and call their lawyers or something. Well, that would be too realistic for a Toku, but okay. And about I also did like when Tiger was about to throw the stethoscope away from the bridge, and that actually what it did was it actually added to Tiger's character that he's tired of all this Buckster stuff that he has been doing for the past 5 years, I guess. Other than that, I have nothing to say.
Like, it was nice to see Taiga have like some internal conflict, rather than him just be beyond, the little bit we got in the beginning with, his little bit of a backstory. But beyond that, there's really nothing that's been done with him other than the fact of he shows up and wants to be the only Kamen Rider. There doesn't need to be anybody else. So it was nice to see, some depth to him beyond that. And like Drago says, there's no reason why those people should not still just walk out of the company, whether the resignations were accepted or not. It's and the fact that there were only 2 of them out of the entire company that went, hey, you know what? This is a bad idea. I find that funny.
Well, I mean, it's a giant corporation. You don't usually walk up to your boss and hand like those guys are probably like section leads or whatever. So they can be like, yeah, okay, we have direct contact. Especially because you're working for a Japanese company, you don't generally barge into your CEO's office, unless you're somebody high enough to do that kind of shit. But yeah, I mean, maybe they're gonna team up with Sakura and stuff, and they'll form their own little gash out division or something. I mean, it might happen. Who knows? As for Taiga, yeah, it's kind of nice to see the real reason why he's pushing Nico away is just because he doesn't want people close to him, and then as the episodes go on and things, you see more and more that how much he actually cares about people. It's just he can't let them get too close because bad shit happens when you're around Taiga. I mean, this might be because we watched, or at least I watched the Snipe first part of his 4-part special thing that's just an extra for the DVDs because if you're buying DVDs you have to give the fans something. or that's the excuse anyway. Where like I have that knowledge too, and it's hitting me super hard because like yeah, what happened to like Taiga's friend, and that's probably why the reason he's going on like there should only be one Kamen Rider and stuff. But you know, most people haven't seen that, so I'm not gonna spoil that.
Well, I did watch it.
Okay, that's cool. Rai, Decade.
I haven't seen it.
I did see it, yes.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Man, like all of Ex-Aid stuff is pretty good. Like, oh, we just released a Genom special in like one video. I have to watch that now. I want to see if that has something like because even the stuff with like the like Let's Play thing that Poppy had, like the episode with Kirya is actually pretty good because just Dan and Kirya's interaction there. So even with Ex-Aid being like super packed with stuff, and even its side stuff is pretty well, except that Brave special. That one's kind of like super throwaway. But the real reason that was done because was just to give people who had the app something to watch, like some special thing. But that was super thrown together, so it's not great.
Ex-Aid, Brave, and Nico show up to where the bugster Vernier is. Amagasaki greets them as the one who made the emergency call. He tells Nico that he'll take care of the riders so she can enjoy the game, and assumes his bugster form. And Poppy shows up to cheer him on. So Nico starts fighting Vernier while Ex-Aid and Brave start fighting Amagasaki. Taiga shows up already henshin into Snipe, but Amagasaki keeps him from getting to Nico. The riders fail to hurt him with their attacks, and he explains that the game he's from, Tokimeki Crisis, is a dating sim where you have to use your charm. He then uses a charm attack to knock the riders out of their transformations, and they all fall into a fountain. Nico gets distracted from her fight with Vernier to show concern for Taiga, but leaves herself open to an attack and is also knocked out of her transformation and falls into the fountain. Taiga reveals that the real reason he fights... while others have their futures, Taiga has nothing left to lose, which is why he feels he should fight alone. But he was glad to hear Nico consider him her doctor, despite having lost his medical license. He tells Nico he won't oppose her fighting anymore, so long as she does it by his side. He henshins into Snipe again and makes short work of Vernier, and Poppy suddenly shows happiness for them. Amagasaki tells Nico she has no taste in men, and Nico tells him he's so boring, everything around him freezes. He takes damage from the insult and is knocked out of his bugster form, where he attempts to regain his composure before teleporting away with Poppy. Emi wants to work together with Taiga and Nico, but Nico just shoves him over into the water. All in all, this was a really good moment for Taiga. Before, we've only just gotten him as the kind of I just want to do this by myself type. We never really got any reason for why he wanted to do it by himself, other than maybe he felt guilty for failing 5 years ago. But this makes a lot more sense. This has a lot more weight to it.
Yeah, I've got a couple things about the scene. So the first thing was when they got tossed into the water by that weird heart attack. I loved Hiro's reaction. He was just like, "What the hell's going on?" Because I mean, none of their attacks were hitting. This is definitely one of the most strange enemies that they've faced. Because, I mean, basically the only way to hurt him is for, I don't know, a girl to insult him. It's really quite strange. So I loved Hito's reaction. And it kind of makes me wonder how they're going to fight him in the future. Because, I mean, if their weapons don't work and none of them have any sort of shipping going on but Taiga, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And also I loved Emu being tossed in the water like 3 times. It was pretty funny. And about Amagasaki, at first I wasn't into the whole him being like some weird old dude and then having like a seductive voice actor alter ego thing, but it's kind of growing on me. And I feel like it could be them like talking shit on dating sim players, saying that like, oh, even though you're ugly, you can still charm people in the game. Those are my thoughts.
Well, this entire the last section of this episode was one of my favorites in the series. For the one reason is that Amagasaki is a weird. Well, I do know how to. I think they're gonna use the mighty, no, wait, the maximum mighty X thing and maybe reprogram him to beat him. Other than that, yeah, the Emu getting tossed into water was funny. Then the interaction between Tiger and Nico was great. And also the thing is that since I've seen the Snipe special, it actually makes this scene a lot more better for me. Yeah, and pretty much it was a good thing, and that's about it. And then the Poppy showing the humanity thing was probably a setup for the next episode, I guess.
Like I wasn't too keen on the voice, but like Decade said, it's growing on me for him. I'm wondering how they're going to end up finally beating him, Amagasaki, in the end. Whether or not they're going to use like Nico, seeing as she's female, or if they're going to use Ex-Aid's stupid Game Genie maximum power up. I did like that little moment with Poppy of that she's, I guess, leading that she's not fully converted, and I just that moment with Taiga, it added, like I said, it added weight and depth to his character, and it explains why he puts up with Nico's crap. Because I mean, she's really done nothing for him aside from antagonize him outside of, hey, you're my doctor. She's literally done nothing, in my opinion, to warrant his constant attention and constant having her around. So it was nice to have that nice touching moment of explanation of, yeah, you're my doctor. You're the since I lost my license, you're pretty much the only one who's considered me a doctor. So it was a nice touch, and it was nice to see Taiga have depth. It took 27 freaking episodes, or whatever episode this is. So yeah, that was nice.
This is episode 27, but like he's had other moments before, especially with that episode where like Hero's injured and they like basically trade for the Title Fantasy or Bang Bang shooting. No, Simulations. That's the new one. That was pretty good too. But yeah, if you see the Snipe special, like even just the first part, it really adds to this scene. I mean, you guys have pretty much said like everything I was gonna say anyway. This is a really well done scene. So I guess I'll just talk about some of the more visual things or just the fight. I like how the grunts are basically in maid outfits, and because they can't talk, they need Poppy there because nobody else has a human voice. So like that's the only reason she's basically doing her cheerleading thing this episode. Like normally I'm like, oh, that's kind of annoying. Like she's a writer too. Don't like put her down to that level. But like for this joke to work, you need somebody like cheering for the guy, and like none of the grunts can cheer for him. So I guess it kind of makes sense. Otherwise though, yeah, I think it's kind of nice to see like more and more of Taiga. I guess really this arc is probably going to be more Taiga based because like the first one was Kirya, sort of. Like it was Emu and Kirya, and like the second one was Hero, and this one is, I guess, going to be Taiga's thing, so that's going to be kind of cool.
At CR, Emu is getting ready to head home for the night, but takes a moment to look at Poppy's arcade cabinet, remembering how she showed a sign that she might not be lost. Episode end.
Yeah, this was, I mean, her saying like, oh, thank goodness during the fight, that was good, but this was really good setup for the next episode because, I mean, we haven't had a lot of symbolism in the show. Like, we've had Kirya's gamer driver, and that's about as much as I can think of. But this whole Emu turning the lights off and then Poppy's cabinet still being lit, that was some really good symbolism for basically hope. And it was nice seeing the room actually unlit.
Yeah, well, Decade said whatever I wanted to say. It was a good. There wasn't any much symbolism in the series except the point where Hero was giving Tiger the gashat in that one episode. I actually feel sad for Hero. He has to use level 2 and 5, while Ex-Aid uses 99 and Taiga uses 50. Other than that, yeah, it was a good setup for the next episode, and I can't wait to watch the next one.
Like the way they set up for this episode, for the next episode, was nice. I'm wondering how far they'll get into revealing that Poppy's not fully converted and leading to, I'm hoping her to turn against Parado and all of them. So it's a nice build to it, to however they decide to go with it, because if this case with Toei, who knows. But all in all, I like this episode a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty good. The other thing is like when Poppy leaves, like you see her cabinet turn off and like then all the lights go off. And then this is kind of like a nice reversal, like all the other lights go off except like Emu kept like the lights on her cabinet, so that's kind of cool too. I mean, like it works both ways. It's like there's still a little bit of hope, but also Emu's also holding out for hope because like somebody had to turn that thing back on. And it definitely wasn't Hero, and I don't think the director has been down here in a while. So that was nice. Yeah, it's a really solid episode. It's especially solid if you see the Snipe special. Like those two, good job TVN. Like good release timing. Because they work so well.
Any other final thoughts before we sign off?
Well, personally, I did like this episode a lot. I don't know, some people don't like it because they don't like Nico. I'm not a fan of Nico, but I didn't hate her either. I hope her and Tiger's character get developed more and more throughout this third arc. Just speculating this, but I think Amagasaki if Poppy is gonna turn to the good side, then Amagasaki has a person that can beat him because Poppy uses Tokimeki Crisis and Amagasaki uses Tokimeki Crisis too. He's a Buckster from that. And also, yeah, I did like the sound of the Buckster transformation sound that comes again. This one, Amagasaki was using. We hadn't seen that in a while. Other than that, I have no thoughts.
As for Nico, like, yeah, originally I was kind of really not in favor of this character because, like, what would she even do? But, like, as she stuck around, like, she hasn't really done that much, but she's really not that annoying, so I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, the one thing is, like, those shoes are insane, and, like, her constantly having to do that spin henshin, man, that must be such a pain in the ass. And shoutouts to Contavious Lockhart for commenting in. But it's a little too spoilery, so we won't say it on air, but thanks for the comments anyway.
And sometimes we do know things that we don't talk about because they haven't happened on the show yet. We record these assuming that who's ever listening to them hasn't seen further than where they're listening, just in case.
There are times that we do slip up on that, but usually those are caught in editing. Usually, there are a few that slip through, and most of it's tied into the toy catalog scans that are found.
Or Twitter accounts that have no sense.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, we try to catch it.
You mean like half of Tumblr? Because apparently I'm like a spoiled magnet.
Yeah, you are, and so am I. I've been trying to avoid Tumblr for like the last couple of weeks because of it.
Glad I don't go into Tumblr.
Like, I think the only spoiler that got through recently was Poppy becoming a writer, and that was because it was spoiled all over everywhere else we could find. Is I think the only reason why that one ended up slipping through.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know a couple more things, but yeah, if I looked for more, I'd probably, like, know most of the shit that's coming forward, but it kind of ruins the fun knowing that much. But whatever, we're just rambling.
All right, thanks for joining us this time, guys, and we will see you next time.
Yep, see you next time.
I might come here, I might not come here. I don't know. See you next time, I guess.
See you next time. Thank you guys for joining us.
See you next time. Thanks for listening, everyone.